Hi guys, welcome back to New Dram Drinker on this lovely Sunday evening. We've had a great weekend, we certainly have, and we're going to bring you now a video in our Ample Sample series. In this series we try 3 different samples from one distillery and just see which expression we prefer the most. It's not saying any of them are bad, it's just which one out of the 3 that we prefer.
Shall we take a look at the delicious drams we're drinking today? As you saw, Glendronach is the distillery we are drinking from today. We've always got 12 on the bar, but we've never really had many others, just a couple, haven't we? And we've always liked what we've had, so we were quite excited when we delved into the sample basket this week, and we did find 3 Glendronachs, so we good?
Glendronach's a weird one for me because it's like a whiskey that we always enjoy, but we've never really gone and got more ourselves.
No. Always just had the 12, the entry level. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I presume just something else always comes along that we buy. But we've got.
Maybe this video will change our mind.
Perhaps we'll be buying. I know one of these bottles is quite expensive, so and probably one you can't get anymore. So it's probably going to be a little bit of a fool's errand. But we'll see how we get on. So let's take a look at what the first one is today.
Took a nose of this and I was like, yeah, that smells like a Glendronach.
And how do we know that?
I don't know.
It's like we said, we don't have that many, but you nose that instantly.
Yeah. And the 12 is finished in sherry casks. So and this one is Oloroso and PX. Yeah.
Perhaps we're getting better at this. Perhaps we actually been able to.
I don't know. And I suppose we know what it is. I mean, look at the colour of that. That's natural colour. I mean, that is a sherry finished whiskey, if ever I saw one.
Doesn't say anything about non-chill filtering though, no. So I presume
glass is a bit dirty. You can see fingerprints.
Yeah, so let's get into it and see what we think.
Fruitcake, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, very dark fruits.
Yeah, like raisins.
Sugary.
Yeah.
Like a.
It's not sweet at all.
No.
There's no. It's not a sweet
nose
whiskey.
is like it's going to be thick and treacly on the palate as well.
Yeah, and there's something. So that's made my nose itch now. There's something.
Not getting a lot of spice. Maybe a little bit of like cooking spice rather than.
Yeah, I would say it's spicy.
Yeah.
It feels like a rich whiskey, and it's only 46%, but I think it noses as a higher ABV.
It noses like I want it all over my Christmas pudding.
Yeah. But it's not sweet. I'm thinking like almost like maybe a cigar leaf or a coffee. There's like a savoury type.
Yeah. It's very cakey, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Right, let's go in on the palate, see if it carries on through for that. Ooh.
Definitely.
I had exactly the same thing then.
Definitely not sweet.
Oh, it's a lot more spicier on the palate than it does on the nose.
Definitely spicy.
But it's nice, isn't it? It's 46%.
And it has such is it a viscous feel? It's so oily in my mouth. It's literally covered the whole of my tongue. That has.
Yeah, the creaminess that you think you're going to get on the nose, when you nose it comes through on the palate big time.
So oily.
It's making my mouth water.
And it's really warm. It's a really warm whiskey. My ears have gone warm.
I would say, if you'd asked me, and I didn't know that this was higher than 46.
Absolutely. It nosed higher, but this definitely is a hefty whiskey. It's so rich as well. It is like a Christmas cake, like a deep fruit cake, but one that's absolutely soaked in rum or brandy or something. Isn't it?
That is really nice.
There's such a lot of alcohol there nice. On the flavour.
And I did have a look through, and I think this was about £65 a bottle, which is, for this, is pretty stunning, to be honest.
I still think there's that savoury note, like whether it's coffee or dark chocolate. There's
I'm getting like almost...
something dark, something...
I'm getting like a dark cherry. You know, the... what's those cherries you get me in the thick sauce? maraschino, because of the creamy,
Like a
the
gatto
sauce
type.
you get in the maraschino cherries is really thick and kind of gloopy, and it's not obviously as gloopy as that, but
Yeah.
it gives you that impression in the mouth.
Licorice.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Definitely licorice. I thought cigar to start with. It's not smoky, but I think it's licorice. Licorice and dark chocolate and maybe a hint of coffee or something.
Yeah, it's really nice. Really, really nice. Pleasantly. I wasn't expecting anything bad because it's Glendronach and, you know you're getting a decent whiskey, but that's really nice. I must admit, I'm really impressed with it.
On the finish, are you getting nuts?
Let me see if I can get some nuts.
It does taste like quite a... I think it's nuts on the finish.
If I was to say yes, it would be a massive grasp for me. Probably not, no. I don't want to get led down there just because you've said it, but I would say just probably not for me, no.
You know, sometimes the nuts, I don't eat nuts, but you know that when you used to get that like dirty taste.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's hazelnuts or something, I don't know.
What do you think about the finish? Do you think is the nuts what come through on the finish?
The nuts are what come through on the finish for me. I would say it mellows. It's not as spicy as it is on the palate. It's got that. It's still that. The feeling on my tongue is just lovely, warm and spicy, and then on the finish, it just all mellows.
I get like a little bit of a tingle sensation on my tongue on the finish as well.
Oh, do you?
And then I get the cigar.
There is like a cigar note, isn't there, or
like
coffee or something, and the licorice. But I didn't get that on the finish.
No,
as much.
definitely. Yeah, very good. So we need to put it up against the next two. So let's move on to the next one and see what that's got to offer. Okay, so this time we're on to the Whisky Brother exclusive bottling from 2008, and I'm looking forward to this one because the colour, it's a little bit more like golden than the first one, I would say, but the legs on here are amazing. Looking at that, I don't know if you can see the legs. I'll try and show you, but yeah, there you go.
And the last one was really oily. True story. We've just literally had to have a huge glass of water each because the coating in my mouth from the last one, it was still there. We could just taste it.
Well, we usually have a drink of water between drams, but we had to go in for a little
like
bit more water on that one because
yeah.
it was quite strong.
So maybe this one will be the same.
But this one's lower in ABV, isn't it? It's 43, I think this one is. So
that's an interesting nose, I'm going to say.
It's a bit lighter, isn't it, on the nose?
Yeah, but there's an interesting note there. It's got similar characteristics. I'm going to say there is like a spicy element. There is a dark fruit like raisins.
It nose is higher than
There's
43.
Yes, it does. There's a, dare I say, furniture polish, little floral note. Like a fruit note as well as the dark raisins. I think there's a lighter fruity note.
It's a tricky one. I've got caramel.
Yeah, I would say caramel and brown sugar.
Like you say, there's definitely an artificial kind
Like
of
furniture
note,
polish.
yeah. That's quite overriding, to be honest. You've
It's
got to really
different.
dig in to pick out the other notes.
Yeah.
There's a sugariness there.
Yeah, I think it's brown
there's the
sugar.
obvious kind of Glendronach backbone in there. I would just say that furniture polish note, artificial note, is kind of covering it over a little bit.
Yeah, I think all the other flavours on the nose are quite muted.
Yeah.
They're there, but they're kind of dampened
It's like
down.
there's a cap on top of the whiskey, and it's like it's not letting as much through.
And we've let it breathe.
Yeah. So I'd say not as impressive a nose as the first one.
But different and interesting, I'm going to say.
Yeah, but then from the first one, knowing that the palate changed quite a lot, I'm still quite excited to see what this has got. So let's go in and see.
That is a lovely palate. That is lovely.
Wow, that is. Again, Glendronach through and through.
Yeah,
You can't...
and very oily. It is coating my tongue.
That's
More
richer, I mean.
spicier, richer. I feel like the last one was like a Christmas cake that had been coated in rum or brandy or something. This is like the raisins have been soaked in whiskey.
That's not suffering for being 43 instead
Not
of
at
46.
all.
I was
Not
worried
at
that it
all.
might be a bit
No.
underwhelming because of the ABV, but that holds its own
That's
with
got those really lovely, deep, dark fruits,
Yeah.
those sherry notes,
Yeah.
like you said, the caramel.
Yeah.
But that it feels like such a big whiskey in your mouth.
To me, it's... I've had a vision. Hallelujah. It's like as if the cake has been soaked in it, and then you've squeezed the juices into the glass, and it's got all the
Like
cake
those
kind of...
raisins and
It's a stunner, that is.
spicier than the last one.
Yeah,
Definitely spicier.
that is very nice.
It's so warm on my tongue. So it is. I've got a tingle across the whole of my tongue. That's like a delicious sensation. Yeah,
Tell you one thing,
that's gorgeous.
Glendronach, they've got the old get in the mouth watering kind of
Yeah,
sensation
definitely.
down. 'Cause that's
Yeah,
crazy. That's
that feels
beautiful.
like it's filled my mouth.
Wow.
The whiskey has completely filled my mouth with all of the flavours. Considering it was quite mellow on the nose, I would say literally from the first sip, it made me go, wow.
I love that.
Yeah, that's
I
really nice.
really like that.
That is a lovely, lovely dram.
Oh, now I've got like a burnt caramel. The finish, the spices really come forward.
Do you know what I'm going to say? You know, I had that furniture polish type note. Now I've drink it and gone back in, it's like dusty bookshelves. It's like the dusty bookshelves.
That is a stunner.
There's a real wood.
Oh,
There's a
wow.
real wood dusty note there. I haven't done the finish
crazy.
yet. What was the finish like?
I think the spices come out, you get a tingle again, but the tingle lasts longer than the first one did. There's a very kind of dusty note as well on the finish for me. But the mouth watering just continues all the way through. As soon as it gets in your mouth does not stop
Yeah.
watering.
There's definitely that wood note at the end.
Yeah.
And it is dusty.
Yeah.
It's like a dusty barn
Like a
or dusty
barn,
bookshelf.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But that is a cracker, to be honest.
That's nice.
I'm not even sure if you can still get it. That's the
No.
problem, because I think it was a South African. That, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it was a South African exclusive bottle.
Okay.
So
That is delicious.
beautiful.
Very
Awesome.
good.
So anyway, doesn't mean it's the winner because we've got one to go. So let's move on to the next one and we'll show you what that one is right now.
Okay, so this is the, I don't know how you say it, Allardice.
Who knows?
Yeah, look at the colour of that. I know I've said this already twice, but oh my goodness me.
Do we have info on?
This is a
Colouring
natural
or-
colour, yeah, 18-year-old
Any-
sherry cask
Anything
finish.
about non-chill filter or
Doesn't,
anything?
I didn't say that on the website.
So again, the legs on it are really good.
And this is 46%, but having just had a 43% and previously a 46%, they have both tasted and nosed higher than I would have said.
And it hasn't made any real difference. The last one being 43 to these being 46. It
But they were
hasn't.
still easy to drink. They didn't
Yeah.
make us wince, but they were huge whiskies that were really oily. So I actually feel really excited to drink
They're
this
like
one now.
meals in a glass, aren't
Yeah,
they, rather than just a
huge, yeah.
whiskey?
Yeah.
Okay, so going in on that. So this is 18-year-old, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that would explain probably why the
Yeah.
legs are so good, with the ABV not being so high.
I'm going to say, similar to the second one, I think the nose is quite mellow.
It is, yeah.
Quite muted.
Yeah, again, it's quite a thin nose, I would say.
Very pleasant.
You would almost be disappointed in the nose.
I would say there's a
in
couple of
way.
different layers going on.
Again,
You've got those sherry notes.
Yeah.
You've definitely got the dried raisins. I can definitely get the wood.
I think this doesn't nose as much like the Glendronachs that we've had
I'm not getting
prior.
any spice on the nose.
I'm trying to pick something. There's a note in there that I'm getting that I just can't put my finger on.
Can't put your finger in it.
It's quite a muted nose,
It is,
isn't it? I
yeah.
can't get a lot, to be honest.
I think it's fruity. You definitely get the fruits, but there's not. It smells like a rich whiskey, but very muted.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying there's nothing going on. The notes are there, but they're very soft.
And I can't add a lot to that, to be honest. 'Cause I'm not getting a lot.
Yeah.
It,
It nose is nice, but it's not. Whoa.
yeah, it's not like it wouldn't be anything to talk about. I wouldn't go
No.
crazy about the nose, to be honest. But obviously after the first two, we know that that's not necessarily the whole story. So we'll
Shall we
move
dive in?
into the palate, and this could be good or bad, I suppose.
I'm going to say mouthfeel, very cold, nowhere near as oily as the last two. It's not oily to me, this one.
Well, what do I think about that? Cigar is more prevalent on
Less
this one.
fruit.
You can tell it's older.
Yeah, definitely.
You can definitely tell it's older.
They always have those slightly funky notes, don't they?
Yeah, and it's a little bit more.
The wood is there.
All the flavours seem a lot more level, don't they? They
Yeah.
seem a lot more mixed
Together,
balanced together, rather than the being kind of. I'd say the first two you have peaks and troughs with all the flavours. It's peppery or spicy, then it's fruity, then it's a smoky, not smoky but cigar. Then this one is very much more just like what your first taste is the same as what you have all the way through it.
It feels like, if this is a thing, like a very relaxed whiskey. Everything is just quite slow, quite subtle. There's a lot going on, like it's full of flavour. They're just very damped down.
I would say that this is like the mum and dad of the family, of the three that we're trying today.
Maybe.
And the other two are like, the middle one was like a teenager who was just like jumping around all over the place and just causing trouble. The first one was a bit more of a younger one, and it was like, okay, it was nice. It had its little like pre-teen moments, but I think this is the grown-up version of those two. Now that depends
what you're
on
after.
whether you like that or not.
Yeah.
Do you want something that's a little bit more expensive, because I think this is about £150 a bottle, and it's a bit more relaxed on the palate? You've got all the right notes for a Glendronach, but it is a lot more relaxed.
I would say it's more refined.
Yeah.
It's less sweet. So there's not as much of the sherry notes are there, but it's not as fruity, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So actually it's less sweet, which could make it harder to drink for some people, I think. It's not as sherry as I thought it would be.
No. I wasn't. I think this is one of our failings in a way, again, that you think because it's an expensive bottle, because it's a lot older, you just think it's got to be the
best,
balls to the wall kind of best one out of the three because of its price, age and everything else. Obviously not now, but we'll be moving on in a minute to our favourite sample of the day, and we'll see where we both fall in that category of what we like from a whiskey.
I think the finish on this, it's very one note, carries on from the palate. I don't think anything extra comes in. I don't think anything disappears either.
Yeah.
It's one note all the way through. It's not as spicy as I thought.
I'm picking up more on the nose after drinking it, and I would say that it's the same nose as the palate. It doesn't. There's no shock factor like there was with the other two. This is very much.
Like how the first one I was like, oh, and now I'm getting this. Oh, and now I'm getting the licorice. And oh, I'm getting this. And it's not.
That's what I was trying to say. It's like the peaks and troughs of all the different flavours that were coming through. This one hasn't got that.
Yeah, it's very relaxed.
It depends what you want from a whiskey. How you're feeling, I suppose. If you're in a chilled out mood, or you just want something just to sip on, it's an not expensive, that doesn't matter, but if you want to feel a bit fancy, I don't know, you want to sit there and relax.
And this would be really nice as your last dram of the evening.
Yeah.
If you had a lovely meal and you just want to sit in your armchair with a dram that lasts all evening.
Yeah.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah. If you want something to get the party started, you go for one of the others.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So, should we move on to our favourite ones?
Let's see
I'm
what
interested
we can
to see what Nicola comes back with here, because sometimes we're on the same page and other times we're not, and I'm a bit unsure on this one. So we'll be back in a minute with our favourite drams of the day. It's quite an easy decision for me, to be honest. This one, it's going to be the Whisky Brother exclusive, because I enjoy a whiskey that's got some character to it, and I think that, like I said, that one was very much up and down all over the palate. It made you think about it, gave you a bit more to do with it. You had to think a little bit more. I think the first one had that, just not to the extent the second one had. And the Allardice last one was just a little bit too one note for me. It was very nice, very kind of easy to drink. I just look for something that's a little bit more excitable in my whiskey. So I think, yeah, definitely the second one for me. What about you?
Yeah, exactly the same. Second one, definitely. I loved the first one, and I think I would say if you, out of the three, if you were after something very sherry, go for the first one.
Yeah.
It was lovely and sweet, and it was like Christmas cake and all those fruits and everything. The second one just went up a level for me. It was just had more flavour. It was more interesting. I think we enjoyed talking about it more.
Yeah.
The third one was lovely, and I think if I was in a bar and I'd had that, or, you know, lucky enough that somebody gave me a sample or something like that, I think you would think this is a really nice whiskey, but not as an everyday sipper or something that I would be that fussed about having on the bar.
It'd probably be nice, the last one, as like an end of meal dram, when you don't need to like be delving into it too much. You're with a group of friends and you just can drink it, enjoy it. You know what you've got in your glass, and you don't really need to be analysing it too much. You just can enjoy it. The other ones, I think I'd be ignoring the people around the table because I'd just be like going, "Oh, this is amazing!" You know?
And I think the second one was so easy to talk about. It just felt like such a full whiskey in my mouth. It was just lovely.
It's one you want to bring out at a party and say to people who like whiskey, try that if you haven't already, because you just know.
I would happily
you'd
show
watch
that
the
one
face, wouldn't you, as they drank it, thinking they're going to love this. So I think, it's just exciting. I think that was the thing. It's an exciting whiskey, which is all you can really ask for, isn't it? And it was reasonable. I don't think you can get the second one over here, can you? I'm not sure. I'll have to look into it, but if you can get it, I would recommend you to get it.
And there's going to be independent bottles of that somewhere else. Some other
you might
independent
find a bottle
online
online somewhere where you can get it, but I would definitely try and get a bottle of that if you can. So we've got to move on now, I suppose, to, we've just kind of answered the question really, but would you buy a bottle of all of them, or which one would you buy a bottle of?
I would definitely buy a bottle of the Revival. That was nice, and the Whisky Brother one was lovely, the exclusive. I wouldn't rush to buy a bottle of the Allardice.
Yeah, I'm pretty much exactly the same as you, to be honest. I think for the first one, I think it was £65, so that's a reasonable price for what you get. So
it was very nice for what you get. Yeah, definitely.
The second one, I would buy a bottle of it, but obviously because it seems like it's quite hard to get hold of, it depends how much the price would be to get that. So if it was like an auction site and the price was ramping up, you've got to make that decision yourself on whether you think it's worth it or not.
But hypothetically,
hypothetically, if you could get it for a decent price, I would buy a bottle.
Yeah.
And the last one, like Nicola said, I wouldn't buy it just purely off. You can get so many whiskies for about £160.
I expect a lot for my whiskey if I'm spending that much money.
Yeah, and I think maybe it's just something that it's one of those whiskies that if it's your favourite whiskey and you love it, you probably will spend that kind of money on it, because I can understand why you would love it. If you love, Glendronach and it hits the mark for you, then go ahead, spend whatever you want to on a bottle of it. But for me, I could probably buy 3 bottles of other things.
I think it shows as well that, like I said, we've always had the 12 on the bar. It just shows that actually you take it up a level and up a level. There's some really good whiskies out there.
But you don't necessarily have to go all the way up to like these £160 bottles to get the best from a distillery, in our opinion. We've tried the ones here that were a lot cheaper than the top one, and we got more from them. So that's all that really matters, isn't it? Just do what you want to do, keep it within your budget, and enjoy your whiskey, basically. So that's all we've got. If you would like to join our members Discord club at any point in the future, like even like right this minute if you wanted to, there will be a link in the description. You can come on there, join in the chat. There's so much going on. We're all back out doing meetups now and things like that. We're staying safe, obviously. But yeah, it's all moving on. Loads of tastings, loads of things to do, loads of great people to meet, and we would love to have you as part of it as well. So thank you for watching. It has been a pleasure as always.
It was a pleasure this week.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to go and dip our hands into the basket and try and find next week's 3 samples for you. So have a great week and keep your eye out for us next Sunday. Thank you for watching.